All right, so let's continue working on our lecture on arrays. And this will probably be our last lecture, and then we'll jump back into doing art, giving you a break from blueprints. We'll go back to texturing our scene, and then after that, we'll cover some more game design. So just kind of taking you through the entire experience that somebody would do, sort of as a technical world artist, as they would, like art, they would do some blueprint programming and things like that. I'm probably going to go beyond this class and just keep making content for this. So if it interests you, let me know, and I'll just keep sending you, work or links to where that content is located. Anyway, so back into our program here. We have our inventory, we have our item name, and we have a find here. There's times when you want to know, like, for example, say your inventory system stores apples, and you want to know, is my inventory full, right? So you'll maybe check the length of an inventory. So here we have our find, and then we have our item name here. So what I can do is just drag off of here and type the word length. And what this node will do is this will tell us the length of our array. So let's go ahead and drag this into here and wire that right in. And let's see. So if I delete that, yeah, we definitely need the converter. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to compile and save this. And if we look at the length of our array, we know it's 1, 2, and 3 items. It's not the index, it's the length. So let's press play, and you should see 3 there, which we do, which is great. All right, so we have find, which will find essentially the item name and see if it's there, and it'll return sort of our index. Well, what if we want to find out if we contain a sword or something, right? Like we don't want to pick up the same sword twice or something. I know in Fallout 4 you can pick up a bunch of the same items and then just sell them. But let's say in our game you want to check if it contains an item and, so that we don't use it. So let's go ahead and drag this out and type contains item, and you can see there it is. And then this returns a Boolean, which means a true or false. So it's really just going to say yes or no whether something is contained. So what are we looking for? Well, in my inventory, there's an apple. So maybe you could only have one apple in my game, which doesn't make sense, but let's see if it has it. So we compile and save this, and then we go into our level and we press play, and sure enough, true. We do have an apple. So that's a good way of we would use the contains for to determine if something is there. Well, what if we want to insert an item into our array? Well, we can drag this out and we can look for insert. And there's an insert function there. And I can essentially say, well, you know what? I want to, let's see. Let's take this event. Let's put this up here. And then just drag this out here and then wire this into here. Then we can wire this up here. And I can insert inside at index, let's say 3, because, well, let's see, what do we have in index 3 right now? We have index 0, 1, 2. We do not have an index 3. So in index 3, I want to insert a string. And we could create a variable, like a string variable here. Like, we'll just use this one. Get string variable, and then drop this in. And then I'll make this one, instead of hello, I don't know, like fish. We're going to insert a fish. So let's compile and save this. And let's see if we, let's see. We definitely want to also print what's at line 3. So let's say, we'll say fish here. And then because this is already wired into the string. So if it contains fish, which we're inserting here, then yeah, we'll print true, and we'll also, yeah, it should print true. So if you look at the order here, we're wiring this into here, which is the insertion, and that'll insert fish. And then by the time we get here, it'll already have the fish in there. Let's compile and save that and press play. And it's true. We do have a fish in there, which is pretty great. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at how we can remove stuff. So I don't think we really care about these. I'm just kind of cleaning this up a little bit. And so let's go ahead and drag this off, and we will do remove index first. We'll wire this in here, and we will remove, let's see, the apple. And so we can say contains fish. Let's do contains apple. So what's going to happen is we're going to insert fish here, and then we're going to remove an apple, and then we're going to print that there. So let's see. And actually, we could probably just paste this here and then wire this in. And then we should get contains apple. And if we remove that, because that is at index 1, we should get a false. And then we can, let's see. Yeah, let's just get false first. And then we'll do a remove. We'll look at the other remove that is there. So let's compile and save this. Let's press play. You can see false. There's no longer an apple there because we removed the item that is at index 0. So let's do another remove where we'll remove, instead of remove index, we'll do remove item. So let's pull this out. Let's type remove. And instead of index, we'll do remove item. And you can see it has a little box there. So I'll type sword. And then we'll check, does this contain a sword? And I will wire this into here. And let's wire this insert into here. And compile and save that, and let us press play, and you will see false. So remove index and remove item, this is actually removing it by name. The other one is removing it by its indices. All right, and then let's do, I'm just going to go ahead and delete all of this and just bring this over here, bring my begin play down here, and let's take a look at how we can clear an array. So in our inventory system, we have all of these, right? So let's go ahead and just type out clear, and then we can wire this into here, and then wire this into here. And then what I can do is I can look for the length of my array, and I can wire that into here. So in theory, we should get, actually, let's do this in 2 waves. Let's wire this into here to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Then I'll copy and paste this. So let's wire this into here, and then we'll get the length of our array. Let's wire this into here, or let's wire this into here. And let's do it this way. Hopefully this is easy to read. Probably not, but actually we could probably do, just copy that and see if I can do both of those. All right, so we're getting the length twice, right? So first, we're going to get the length of our array, which is essentially 3 elements. Then we're going to clear our array. So say you got hit by something in the game, and they took all of your inventory. And then we're going to print it to see what clear does, which essentially clears out your array. So we should get 0. So if I press play now, you see we get 0, 3, 0, 3. And let's see, the length is 3. And then we want to, it calls our clear, and then we're getting the length again. Yeah. And that's the reason why. It's because because it's running twice. And I think that's it. So in the next video, what we'll do is we'll start to move, we're going to jump back in, take a break from Blueprint programming, and start working on texturing our environment. And I'm going to show you kind of a pretty neat way. And then what I'll do is I'll show you an advanced way using Substance Painter later at the end of the class, because that will require you to download. So right now we're going to use Photopea to create tile textures. All right, I hope you enjoyed this.